Hey guys, this is Oddity Airsoft. Welcome to my first video with my voice in it. And today we'll be reviewing two FMG-9 kits that you can get on the market today. So, for all this time, getting an FMG-9 was really hard. The only one you could get was the KWA version, but that has been discontinued for almost more than 10 years ago. And they command outrageous prices on eBay, even back then. I remember like 2017 when I was looking for one. They were like, the KWA versions kind of went for like $500, $600. In 2023, now they're like just, the prices have skyrocketed since less and less of them are being available. You expect to pay like $900 to $1,000 for a KWA FMG, and that's ridiculous. So today I'm here to show you two alternatives that are not the KWA version. We got the AEGIS FMG-9 kit, and then we got the Octopus FMG-9 kit. This one I got from Evike, and this one I got from Octopus Airsoft. I'll put a link in the description for both of these listings. So in this video, I'm really going to review each of them, and then at the same time compare which one is kind of better. I can't really say better because both of them are good for their own reasons, but I feel like that's really up to you as a viewer to make that decision and make your opinions for each of them. So let's get started. So first off, let's review the boxes. This is the AEGIS one, and you can tell this one is really fancy. It has a really nice texturing to it. FMG-9, this is also just kind of like has its own different texture to it. It's more glossy looking. It just looks like a really just fancy product. Oh, warning, causes cancer. And when you open it up, it's kind of like, it has like this latch that's held by magnets, which is also really fancy. And you open it up, and inside you got like a foam cutout of the gun. This is very secure. And inside you'll get the actual kit itself. This one, it's still in the box. You'll get some parts included. So what's in here is parts for the magazine. You have the selector switch, the little thing that you could put on the sights. Because when it comes to this gun, you can't just throw in like a Glock 18 and just have it work. You need to kind of like make some modifications to the selector switch and the sights, because if those are still in the gun, like the original stock ones, it's not going to fit. So I'm glad that AEGIS included these, so you can make your own modifications and make sure your gun fits in. These are pins, and then you have more magazine plates, so that way it also fits even better into your gun. And then we got the gun itself. I'll be covering that later. This is the AEGIS. Now this is the Octopus. Compared to the AEGIS, you can tell this one's much more cheaper looking. It's literally just a black colored cardboard box, and there's nothing much to it. You do have a lot of like foam in here to protect the case though, so that's also good. Notice that the kit's not in here. I actually took it out, so pretend it's in there. So a much cheaper box, but it still does the job. Like, you know, make sure it just protects it throughout shipping. Nothing gets lost. Notice it doesn't include any of these parts like the AEGIS one. I'm also going to get to that later. We got the two kits out of the box. Again, on the left side, we have the AEGIS Custom, and on the right, we have the Octopus. Now, before I review these two, I think it's important to mention the prices that I paid for these kits. This one, the Octopus, I paid $350 for it off of Octopus Airsoft. And notice what it kind of includes. Okay, this light was not included, but you get the kit, but you also get an Army Glock 18 already installed in there. Or actually not really already installed in there. I mean, I feel like like the firing pin and all that kind of stuff, that's already installed. But the slide, you have to put that in yourself. But other than that, like, you get the gun too. So you have like a full functioning product here. The Aegis Custom was also $350, but this is it. This is just only for the kit itself. If you actually put in a Glock 18 in here, like, considering the price of the gun itself, expect to pay around like $500 to $600 to actually get a functioning FMG-9 from this kit. So definitely the Aegis is much more expensive than the Octopus. Let's review the build quality of these two. Let's start with the Aegis. Right off the bat, the moment you feel this, like the moment you hold this in your hands, you can feel the money, because this thing feels really nice. They made this from some really nice polymers. It's very well textured. It's very sturdy. Like, I'm pressing it with my thumb. There's no sign of warping or anything like that. Carrying handle's really nice and comfortable to hold with your bare hands, though I imagine you'd be probably wearing gloves or something if you're going to actually use this in a game. This thing just overall feels really sturdy. It feels like you're going to take some abuse. You could even drop it or just kind of throw it around casually. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but you could, because this thing is very solidly built. So all the screws and parts and little things like that also look really nice. It's made from milled steel, so you can't really imagine that breaking. Overall, the Aegis, it feels like a very solidly built kit. But I can't say the same for the Octopus, though. You feel this, and it, like right off the bat, it just like the first thing you think of when you hold this is Chinese knockoff. You can see here, like, the plastics is definitely much cheaper. You can tell that they were trying to do some texturing here, but it's just, they didn't do it really well. It's really smooth. It's very slippery. And especially, like, considering that you're going to have to, like, add some grease into here to make the Glock 18 part work, it's just going to get even more slipperier. There's also a lot of really sharp edges to it. This wouldn't be a problem if you're going to be using this kit, like, with gloves, which I imagine you'll be doing. But if you're, like, using this with your bare hands, like, this thing, like, really cuts into it. Especially the carrying handle, like, this edge right here. It's really sharp. It's not very comfortable at all. Again, normally people wouldn't mind this, but if you really do have sensitive hands and if it's really bugging you, then I recommend, like, filing it down. But that's just, like, a really minor gripe. Another thing is, like, the screws. Like, you got, like, Phillips screws here. Like, come on. They're not even, like, properly blued either. They look like they're just, like, painted on. So it doesn't look really good, and you can already tell, like, right out of the box, like, it's already, the paint is already coming off around the edges. So that's not good. Come on, FCW. I think the company that made this, you can do better than this. Despite being a cheaper kit, the Octopus does have its benefits over the Aegis version, and one of them being the fact that you could put a Streamlight M3 flashlight on it. Now, when it comes to FMG kits, you could literally put any kind of light or laser or little grenade launcher. You know, you could put anything you want in there. As long as it fits the space, you can go crazy with it. But in my opinion, when it comes to FMGs, I feel like the Streamlight M3 just goes with it very well. It's just kind of like peanut butter and jelly. It just looks really nice together. And you can tell that the carrying handle was just solely designed to work with this particular flashlight. You can carry it around. There's a little switch right here. You just push it down with your thumb, and it starts working. You know, push here. You just kind of like turn it on and off. This one, you just push on this side, and it'll stay on until you just push it back up. So the Octopus kit can fit this flashlight really well. It's just, these two are just iconic together. You can't, like, you look up FMG-9 on Google, but you'll see the FMG-9 and you'll see the flashlight together, this particular flashlight together. So Octopus fits it. The Aegis, however, cannot. And it can't because this space here is too small, simply because this carrying handle is too far forward. Like, let's compare the two. Keep in mind this gap right here. Notice how the Octopus kit, this carrying handle is more far back than the Aegis version right here. And I think the reason it's like that is because Aegis designed this kit from the ground up. Meanwhile, Octopus must have based this design closely to the KWA version, the original one. Because as far as I know, with the original KWA FPG, you could actually put this light on it as well. So when it comes to the Octopus, I've seen some information online saying that this kit was actually based around a Nerf gun. I can't really believe that, because I know what Nerf gun they're talking about. It was like this beige plastic, like Chinese, like FMG that can shoot little Nerf like darts. And as far as I know, that kit was actually a little bit more bigger than the original Airsoft version. And so the story goes that Octopus or FCW, whoever manufactured this, actually got that Nerf one, and they got the dimensions off of it and shrunk it to fit a Glock 18. But I can't really believe it, because that Nerf one has some really weird dimensions, and I don't think that story is true. But anyway, because they designed this on the ground up, the rails and like the position of the rails, the dimensions of them are different. They can't really fit the Streamlight M3 flashlight. So if you really want that flashlight, then I'm sorry, you can't really put this together unless you cut a new like notch into the rail. But I mean, since you're paying $350 for this kit, I don't think you'd really want to do that. Another benefit the Octopus has over the AEGIS is let me show you. The Octopus actually has unofficial Magpul trades. So you got the Magpul logo here. You got Magpul Industries Corporation, Boulder, Colorado, USA. You got another Magpul logo here. So despite being like an unofficial Magpul product, it does look official at least. So that's really good. The AEGIS does not have any trademarks. Oops, there we go. There's a little circle here. You can tell there was originally something going to be here, but they probably opted out because of copyright reasons, which is completely understandable. So there's no Magpul logo. There's no made by Magpul, you know, Boulder, Colorado, or whatever. There's none of that. It's the same thing here. So while these two are open, let's actually review the build quality some more. Let's start with the AEGIS. Again, like I mentioned before, the plastics that they used to make this is really nice. I'm bending it with my finger, and there's very little bending going on. This grip here is very nice and sturdy. Doesn't really wobble that much. This is very comfortable. The springs are black. They look really nice and don't really stick out. And here's the lever to kind of unhinge the grip. It's very big. You can't miss it. Really nice. Let's review the Octopus. Again, very cheap feeling. There is a lot of warping going on. These springs are very, they're not like anodized or colored in any kind of way, so they're very visible. But it's no big deal, to be honest. This grip feels cheaper and is also a bit thinner than the AEGIS, so that's why it feels a little flimsy. At least I can say for the lever to unhinge the pistol grip for this one, it's big and you can't miss it, so that's good. Because I bought this directly from Octagon, they pre-installed the gun in there, and they also installed an FCW barrel, so that way it's really long and it sticks out. Sorry, it just looks horrible. There was an orange tip on it, and me trying to remove it was just like a nightmare, or at least it shouldn't have been. But you know, I could fix it. I could just glue it. It'll look better. Now let's see how easy it is to fold and unfold this kit. Let's start with the Octopus. All right, just pull it down here. So everything folds in correctly. The grip's nice and latched. This was kind of like sticking out, but I could just pop it back in, so there's no big deal. I mean, especially if you're like quickly deploying this and like quickly trying to aim with this gun, like I imagine your face is probably gonna push this down as well, so it's not a big deal. But other than that, everything is pretty smooth when it comes to deployment. So let's try to actually fold it back up. So push this down, press this. Again, I like this. It's a big button. You can't miss it. what I like about it is you could actually press it down and it'll stay down, and it's not gonna like spring back up because of the spring pressure. So that's very handy. And then we just cover this in there. Now what I don't like is you gotta really squeeze it in there. Gotta like slap it a few times to make sure it's fully latched. But there, completely folded back up. That wasn't bad. Now it's the AEGIS' turn. AEGIS is whatever. So because this doesn't have a gun inside of it, I hope this doesn't really affect the review too much, like especially when it comes to folding and unfolding this. But for now, because there's no gun in it, I'm going to review it as it is. So folding it. Everything has been folded smoothly. Unlike the Octopus, this wasn't sticking out. It even like fully latched on, so you don't even need to press it down, so it's really good. Everything's nice. Everything's folded. Very sturdy. Nothing's loose. Good. Now let's try folding it back up. Okay, let's fold this. Press down on this. Again, I like how big this button is so you don't miss it. This is because this magazine is extended, I actually have to press the mag release and push it up in here. Oh, here's one thing. Yeah, here's one thing the Octopus does well and this doesn't. It doesn't stay down. It's like it's trying to push back up because of spring pressure, so that's not a good thing. Let's push this down. But unlike the Octopus, it snaps confidently into place, and it doesn't shake loose or anything like that. It doesn't open up. Very solid. Nice. Can't really do a shooting test or anything like that because it just wouldn't be fair. After all, like I mentioned many times, this doesn't have a gun, this one does. So I feel like I've covered almost everything that I can say from these two kits alone. So I guess what I can say now is which one is probably the best one after everything that I laid out. In my opinion, I feel like both of them are really good kits. It just depends on what you're really looking for and what you want. So if you want something to last very long and to be very sturdy and last you many games, then I would definitely go with the AEGIS. Yes, it's going to be more expensive, but if you want something to last, then you're obviously going to need to pay more for it. And this thing, like I mentioned many times, is very, very well built, very solid, very high quality. However, if you just want something really cheap, or if you just want an FMG but you just don't have the money for it, then I would also recommend the Octopus. Yeah, it's going to have a lot of things that are really cheap to it, like the awful, disgusting Phillips head screws, just a cheap plastic. It just feels really cheap, and I feel like it's not going to last very long, but hey, it's an FMG. If you take care of it, I guess it'll last you long enough. And if you are a collector, then having the Octopus would also be nice because it has all the trademarks on it, and it'll fit the flashlight. It has all the nice little benefits and things. It's just the fact that it's cheap. It's just kind of, that's just like the one thing that it has against it. Another thing that's really nice is actually that the fact that the AEGIS is really compatible with a lot of different Glock models. Off the top of my head, it's compatible with Tokyo Marui, WE, which is also like based off the Tokyo Marui. It runs very well with VFC, Elite Force, you know, and all those kind of Glock models. It's compatible. So also Army, you know, different types of models. Meanwhile, when it comes to the Octopus, I feel like, as far as I know, it's only compatible with Tokyo Marui based Glocks. So Tokyo Marui, WE, KJW, Army, that's pretty much it. I'm not sure if this is compatible with VFC or Elite Force or those kind of Glocks, so that's a shame. So that's another benefit the AEGIS has over the Octopus. It's just more compatible with a lot of Glocks, and as far as I know, the Elite Force and the VFC Glocks are actually far more available than, say, like a Tokyo Marui or things like that, because Tokyo Marui Glocks are not licensed. They have the trademarks and everything, but they're not licensed by Glock, so getting those into the country might be a little bit difficult or expensive. It's not impossible, it's just expensive. Meanwhile, you know, VFC Glocks, you know, Elite Force, like, they're literally everywhere. Like, you can even just pick one up from like e-bike for $160, which is not even a really bad price. You can literally like buy everything you need to get a functioning AEGIS kit, like just only from e-bike, and that's it. The only thing that you'll be probably missing out is extended barrel. The Octopus has, but I imagine probably in the future, maybe some company will make an extended barrel for VSC Glocks in the future. So, alrighty, so that was my review. If you own an AEGIS or an Octopus and I missed out on something or I got something wrong, please let me know in the comment section below. This is my first review, so of course I'm not going to get things perfect. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helped you. I'll be probably making more reviews like this in the future. So, until next time, see ya.